National League Championship Series against the Dodgers Thursday. Both sides have been waiting around to places last week, and as you see, the fans eager for NLCS baseball as well. They're at the bank. Manny Ramirez struggled against the Phillies during the regular season. Just 7 for 33, one home run here in the first inning. 0-1 pitch from Cole Hamels. That's going really far. Stays in the ballpark. Andre Ethier will score. Ramirez is in with a double. Look at this again. Pitch location from Hamels. The call for the ball high and inside. Well, that's just a ringer right there in the middle. Heart of the plate. Look how far it goes. So you go to the under then thing, just, a foot or two from being a 2-0 lead instead of a 1-0 lead. Derek Lowe on the other side. Pat Burrell leading off the inning. Base knock. Ramirez does a nice job getting over. Cuts off the ball. Burrell's going to have to hold up at first. Big turn, but he's going to stay at one. No double there. Next batter, Jason Worth. He grounds over to DeWitt, who steps on second, throws to first for the double play, and Manny's adept fielding out there in left field helps set up the double play. We go to the fifth. Now 2-0 in favor of the Bums. Hamels at the dish. Runner on first. 2 outs. Oh, yeah. 2 out base hits will get you to heaven. They'll also extend the inning. Carlos Ruiz goes to second. So Hamels going to turn over the lineup, get to the top of the order again. Jimmy Rollins, fans all about J-Roll. You maybe called him out, yeah, but they happy with him right now. Well, we'll see. Low out of that jam, out of the soup. And he's got it. Yeah, there you go. Bottom 6, Shane Victorino leading off. They call him the Flying Hawaiian. Yeah. Grounder to short, Rafael for call. He's got it, but the throw high. James Loney can't corral it. Victorino's going to race over there to second on the play. Good base running. Next up, Chase Utley. Not only is he the next batter, but the next pitch from Lowe is out of the ballpark. Phil Einhorn with oil and go. 2-run shot. His first home run of the postseason. And again, let's talk about hitting your spots, right? Lowe, mislocation. Pitch just stays out over the plate. Utley crushes that. And Lowe this time not as excited as he was getting out of the jam. A couple of batters later, Chanho Park warming in the pen. Lowell facing Pat the Bat. Burrell, his second hit of the game goes really far. Third home run of the postseason. And just like that, the Phils have a 3-2 lead. And again, unless you're throwing about 105, you got to still locate that ball. So Torrey comes out, make a change. Lowell allows 2 homers in the inning. Did that only once during the regular season. So the Phils up a run. Can they protect him? Hamels back to work in the 7th. Blake DeWitt, yeah, no chance there. Pinch hitter Jeff Kent. Off the bench, back to the bench. Then for call, grounder, and Jimmy Rollins back in good graces. Hamels, 7 innings, great. 6. You got to take your temperature every out with this guy. 2 earned runs. The crowd, big ovation for Cole Hamels. Top 8, Ryan Madsen now in relief, and he's going to have to face Manuelito. And Manny, hardliner, but there's Pedro Feliz. Good scouting report standing right there. Manny finishes 2 for 4. Phillies still leading 3-2. Into the ninth, Brad Litt, right perfect in save situations during the regular season. Got a couple of them against the Brewers, and he got one here. Strikes out DeWitt. Ruiz picks. There we go. Ruiz has got him. And the Phils win game 1 by a score of 3-2. So the Phils run their home record to 5-0 against the Dodgers this season. You know what I say about that? Lock them up, play them again Friday, and they will. Utley, first pitch swing, first pitch homering for the first time since April. Burrell is now tied with Mike Schmidt for 4th on the Phils' all-time postseason homer list with 4, and Derek Lowe's 4-game postseason winning streak is kaput. Winners talk first.
Practice didn't speak to reporters before the game. In the first, Brett Myers losing control against Manny Ramirez. After the game, Myers said he didn't want to hurt their best player. Don Mattingly and the Dodgers not happy. Later in the at-bat, full count, Myers gets Manny swinging. Myers walked off the field saying the ball just slipped out of my hand. Bottom 2nd, Phillies down 1-0. Carlos Ruiz to left center. 2-out double. And that brings in former Dodger Greg Dobbs. Ruiz hitting .429 in the NLCS. We're tied at 1. Now Brett Myers. 4 for 58, 1 RBI in the regular season.
But I know you love to watch him
at the plate. Unbelievable. What a show for him. Singles the center. No one in the lineup had swagger like Myers. Picks up an RBI. Phillies up 2-1. 2 batters later, Shane Victorino with 2 on. Singles the center. Myers and Jimmy Rollins come in. Phillies up 4-1. Myers, he won't be giving batting practice tips to his teammates. Trust me, not with that method. In the 3rd, Dodgers down 4-3. Bases loaded, Blake DeWitt. Filthy. Myers, 6 Ks in 5 innings, gets out of the jam. Bottom 3rd, bases loaded for Myers. I talked about that swagger. Singles past James Loney. 2 runs come in. Myers becomes the first pitcher in postseason history with 3 hits, 3 RBI, and 2 runs in 1 game. 6-2 Phillies. I can't believe it. Then Victorino to right center. It drops. The triple scores 2, Ruiz and Myers, the big man coming in. Phillies bat around. They score 4 runs with 2 outs. They're up 8-2 in the 4th. 2 outs, Rafael Furcal. 0-2 count, swings and misses. The ball gets away from Ruiz, so Furcal takes first. Later in the inning, 2 on for Manny. The Phillies, they pitch to Manny, and he makes them pay. Deep to left, 27th postseason home run. No one's better. Dodgers within 3. Manny with some words from Myers. In the 7th, tension in Philly. 2 on, 2 out for Casey Blake. Drive to center. Victorino, the flying Hawaiian. Yeah. Said he just tried to get back, and he does. And look at this grab. The play of the day. Matt Camp can't believe it. The rally over for the Dodgers. We go to the 9th. 44 for 44 in save situations. Brad Lidge facing Manny. Free pass. This is Lidge's first NLCS game since the Albert Pujols game back in 2005. Remember that. He walks James Loney, bringing the tying run to the plate. Next batter, it's Kemp swinging. Lidge, 36 pitches the last 2 games, 26 sliders. Look at this slider on Nomar. 4th save this postseason for Lidge. Phillies get the win 8-5. Dodgers 0-6 at the bank this year. Phillies lead the series 2-0. Game 3 in LA on Sunday night on ESPN Radio and Fox. Shane Victorino becomes the first center fielder to ever collect 4 RBIs in 2 postseason games in 1 season. Victorino found out his grandmother passed away after the game, but he talked about getting a special win for his manager.
None in the best of 7. 04 Red Sox, the only team ever to win any 7-game series after falling behind 3 games to none. Tiger Woods there wearing a Dodgers hat. Advantage Los Angeles. Jamie Moyer, 10 earned in his last start against the Dodgers. That was 07. Better stat, 8-2 and 15 starts since the All-Star break. Manny doesn't care. Furcal gets a hit. Ethier gets a hit. Ramirez gets a hit. And the Dodgers are up 1-0. First 3 men on. Next batters, Russell Martin. He's not going to get a hit. He's going to get hit. We'll revisit this scenario here momentarily. Bases loaded, no outs. After a strikeout, Casey Blake, 1 for 10 in the last 3 games. He singles. Ethier scores. It's 2-0. Another whiff. Bases loaded. Rookie Blake DeWitt fell behind 0-2, and Moyer cannot finish him off, and this pretty much finished off Moyer. DeWitt, the right field line. All 3 runners score on the triple. LA 5-0 in the first. Moyer's worst regular season start this season. Late August against the Mets. 3 innings, 6 runs. Mike Everett behind home plate. Everett there Sunday. Is that in Moyer's head? Who knows? But Rafael Furcal is all over that Moyer pitch. Furcal 1 for 9 in the series, goes 2 for 4 in the game. It's 6-1. Moyer gone. 1 1/3 innings, 6 earned runs. While Moyer thinks about it, let's think about this. Legal flashback. Game 2, Friday. Brett Myers throws behind Manny Ramirez. There was no retaliation from the Dodger pitchers in that game. What did Manny have to say? Well, it's kind of interesting. You see Myers seemed to say, hey, the ball slipped. Manny said afterwards, I'd want to have a guy like that on my team. He's going to go out there and battle. So let's go back to Sunday's game. This was the top of the first. Chase Utley is going to reach, get caught stealing, but in that at-bat, you see Kuroda go high and tight on him. Clay Condrey, bottom 2, high and tight at Martin, and Martin gives him what we call stink eye back in the 8-08, and Martin frustrated after he grounded into a double play. Martin, remember, he's the catcher, so he could be talking to his pitchers about, hey, we may need to deliver a message, and that may have been the message that Philadelphia was delivering. Shane Victorino over his head, and you can see Victorino. Hey, bro, you can throw at my ribs, don't throw at my head. Kuroda went right over the top of him. Martin would say later, we weren't throwing his head, we were throwing over his head. Victorino grounds out, Kuroda over to cover first. Words are exchanged, and all of a sudden, the bench is clear. And Manny Ramirez decides he needs to go after someone. Who that someone is
oh, you know what that is right there? That's leadership.
Is that what that is? Yeah. No punches thrown, no ejections. Warning, Davey Lopes, of course, played for the Dodgers forever. He's now a Phillies coach. He's yelling his opinion over there. And, well, Kuroda, he got his message across, and then he got his pitches across as well. Pat Burrell and Jason Worth right after the incident, the top of the 4th and the top of the 5th, and Kuroda's going to leave the game. Corey Wade's come in, and he's told, hey, we've given warning, so there will be ejections, but there will be no comeback, and there will be no ejections. Wade gets Greg Dobbs to ground out to Furcal, ends the inning, and the Dodgers go on and they win 7-2 as your final. The Dodgers score 5 runs in the first off Moyer. That's the most first-inning runs for the Dodgers in franchise postseason history. Including the 3 games in this series, the Dodgers and Phillies have now played each other 11 times this season. The home team has won every game. A lot of talk about the ball thrown at Victorino and what it all meant. That's what Joe Torre was asked immediately afterwards.
Until now. Hey, there's our guy, Oral, throwing out the first pitch. Threw it to his son, Jordan. He was on the receiving end. Game 4 NLCS, Derek Lowe on 3 days rest. Trouble for him in the first. Chase Utley gets one past James Loney. Jimmy Rollins scores. RBI double. Phillies would score another one. And Lowe all ticked off. Wasn't happy about being pulled after the 5th inning after a 1-2-3 inning either. In the bottom of the 5th, runners on first and second. Manny Ramirez. He owns Joe Blanton. Who owns Joe Blanton? Manny Ramirez does. Phillies have a conference on the mound. They decide to pitch to Ramirez. Manny 7 for 8 with runners in scoring position this postseason. Rafael Furcal is safe. Dodgers tie the game at 2. They'd score another on a fielder's choice lead, 3-2. Let's go to the 6th. Chan-Ho Park pitching for the Dodgers. Now, the Dodger bullpen has been unhittable so far. Zippo, in terms of runs allowed in 11 innings pitched, coming into this one. Well, Park's first pitch to Carlos Ruiz gets past Russell Martin. Ryan Howard able to come in and score. Phillies tie the game at 3. Later in the same inning, runners in the corners, 2 down. Here's Joe Bible pitching, and so Taguchi hitting. Andre Ethier coming on. Sliding grab. Ethier gets the Dodgers out of the jam. Let's go to the bottom of the 6th now. Chad Durbin pitching the Phils, facing Casey Blake. And Blake drives one. The ballpark will not hold it. Gone. Solo shot. Blake gives L.A. a 4-3 lead. After the home run, Russell Martin trying to get Blake to take a curtain call. Guy's shy. Blake reluctantly obliges him. After a Ryan Howard throwing error, makes 5-3. Base loaded, 1 out. Here's Martin, liner to second. Chase Utley, the diving catch, and then the dive to the bag for the double play. Phillies get out of the jam thanks to the defense of Utley. On to the 8th we go now. Shane Victorino facing Corey Wade with the runner on. Told you how great this Dodger bullpen had been, right? Until this game. Remember the pitch over his head in the previous game? This one's over the wall from Victorino. Philadelphia ties the game at 5. Now, Joe Torre brings in Jonathan Broxton, the closer, to face the pinch hitter, Matt Stairs. I knew, ever since August 30th, this Stairs guy was a good pickup for them. First home run allowed by Broxton, dating back to 06 at Dodger Stadium. 366 at-bats in the home white uniforms without giving up a home run until that one. Phillies 7-5 lead. Bottom 8. Here's Manny facing Brad Lidge. I mean, Ramirez, every ball he hits is in a gap and hard someplace. Manny in a second with a double, so the Dodgers trying to rally. That brings up Russell Martin. Martin, 2 down, 0-2 pitch, and Lidge gets him. The ball gets away from Carlos Ruiz, far enough that Martin is safe at first. You don't often see that. Wild pitch by Lidge, runners in the corners, but Loney is going to pop up to end it. Lidge out of the jam, a 1-2-3 ninth. His first 4-out save of the season. There were no brushbacks, no trouble of any kind. The only trouble is what the Dodgers are in now, with the Phillies a game away, a win away from the World Series. Now, prior to this one, Joe Torre teams had been 62-1 with a 2-run lead in the 8th inning or later in a playoff game. Can you say Mariano Rivera? The 6 pitchers that followed Derek Lowe in this one couldn't shut the door. Dodgers tie an LCS record for most pitchers used in a 9-inning game. As for the Phillies hitting in the clutch, it was Canadian Matt Stairs delivering on Canada's Thanksgiving.
Game 6. Phillies when we go to Game 1 of the World Series. As you can see, lots of folks here at Dodger Stadium. Charles Fuke, Manuel getting ready. 1 game for the World Series. Chad Billington didn't fare well in his Game 2 loss. 2 in the 3rd inning, 7 earned runs, and, well, didn't start very well here. Jimmy Rollins, leadoff batter in a full count, gives the Phils a lead, 1-zip. Russell Martin called for the ball down. And when you elevate the pitch and it's up in the zone, hang, bang. Rollins hammers it, including the Rollins home run. The Phillies have 3 homers in their last 9 at-bats against Dodgers pitching. Jay Roll, 3 leadoff homers in his postseason career. Phil starter is your Game 1 winner, Cole Hamels, has been brilliant in the postseason. Blake DeWitt here grounds into a 4-6-3 double play to end the inning, and Hamels, no worries as he gets out of the second. Into the third, 2-on, 2-out for Ryan Howard, the big man. And he will hit that through the shift. I mean, there wasn't a very big window, but he got it through there. Jimmy Rollins comes in to score. Very clutch. Howard, he's pleased. Pat Burrell, yeah, he's headed to heaven with a 2-out knock as well. Chase Utley will score. Phil's lead 3-0, and Joe Torre's going to yank Billingsley early. 2 2/3, 4 hits, 3 earned. We go to the 5th. 2 men on. Greg Maddux now facing Pat the Bat. Burrell. Grounder over to short. Rafael Furcal. Oh, booty, 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 booty. Chase Utley trying to score. Furcal's throw home. That's way wide. It's going to allow Howard and Burrell to move up the base. In addition to letting that run come home easy enough. 2 errors on Furcal on 1 play. It's 4-0. And then later in the frame, Carlos Ruiz ground to short. Furcal this time, bad throw. Fouled by James Loney. Howard will score. Loney, oh my goodness. L.A. not catching or throwing with much success here. Phillies lead 5-0. 3rd error of the inning by Furcal. Had 4 errors in 36 games during the regular season. 3 errors also tied a postseason record for errors in an inning. Dodger fans depressed. Manny Ramirez, he does what he does, regardless of the score. Banging it with 2 outs off Hamels, but nobody on. So really nothing hurts. Solo home run, 4th of the postseason for Manny. It's 5-1 as we go to the 7th. Hamels still on the mound, facing Nomar Garcia-Parra with 2 outs. Full count. Fans, full voice, got the towels. Walks Nomar. That's ball 4. So we got him on 1st and 2nd. Now Charlie Manuel entertaining the thought of a change. He's got pitchers out there in the bullpen ready to go. But you know what? Goes out, talks to his man, says, I'm going to ride my horse a few more fence posts. So the next guy up, Jeff Kent. Crowd now really involved in Los Angeles. 2-2 pitch. Mike Winters generous on a ball down low. That is strike 3. Hamels 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, 1 earned run. Bottom 9, Brad Lidge in to finish this thing off. Here's how Hall of Famer Harry Callis called on the Phil's radio network.
A 3-2 pitch, swing and a pop-up. This game is going to be over. Carlos Ruiz squeezes it, and the Phillies are the National League champions. The Phils move on to the World Series.
Phillies win the game 5-1. They win the series 4-1. Charlie Manuel hugging his players, some welcome joy. Recently lost his mother, Joe Torre, congratulating the fans. And then, yeah, once you're in there, it's all about fine champagne, my skittish little pixie. On the 20th anniversary of Kirk Gibson's famous homer, no good karma for the Dodgers. 6th time in 125 years, Phils go to the World Series. They've won it once. Hamels' 3rd win of the postseason ranks him 2nd all-time on the Phils list behind Steve Carlton, who has 6. His October ERA 1.23, 13 hits allowed, 22 Ks, and now the Phils get a week before they start the series next Wednesday in the American League City. Here are the happy, soggy people.